Would you survive? Imagine being ripped from your home at the age of 7, thrown into a world where weakness is not tolerated, and pain is just another step toward greatness. In Sparta, fear did not exist. Only strength, discipline, and the duty to become a living weapon. Training was not a choice. It was destiny. Few endured. Many failed. But those who survived became the most feared warriors in history. Welcome to the Agoge, the school where boys were forged into legends. A mother's cry echoed, but no one cared. At 7 years old, a Spartan boy's fate was no longer decided by his family. His future belonged to the city. No long goodbyes, no embraces, just one last glance before being dragged into the Agoge, where the concept of childhood ceased to exist. The cold dirt floor replaced the comfort of home. The stone walls offered no warmth, only shadows and silence. The air reeked of sweat and old leather. Crying was common on the first nights, but soon it disappeared. The weak learned to stay silent. Here there was no protection, no father to defend you, no mother to console you. You were alone, and if you didn't learn fast, you would be crushed. In Sparta, weakness was not a human trait. It was a death sentence. Hunger, cold, fear. These were your new companions. Survival was not guaranteed. Hunger was not a punishment, it was a lesson. The young boys were deliberately given insufficient food, forced to steal if they wanted to satisfy their needs. But there was one cruel detail. If they were caught, no matter the reason, they were brutally beaten. Not for stealing, but for being careless. At night, the cold cut like blades. Clothing was scarce. The skin burned under the merciless wind. No blankets, no fire to warm them, only their own resilience to endure. The weak got sick. The weakest died. Every day was a test. Every mistake a punishment. Pain was a constant teacher. But for those who learned quickly, a new instinct was born. The cunning of a predator, the brutality of a warrior. In Sparta, strength alone was not enough. You had to be relentless, obey, or suffer. Thinking too much was a mistake. A young Spartan did not question orders. He did not hesitate. He obeyed. Those who failed were punished without mercy, whipped, beaten, publicly humiliated. Fear was not allowed. Pain was not an excuse. The hierarchy was brutal. The older boys made the rules, the younger ones obeyed. The weak, they were despised, crushed, discarded like dead weight. No one helped. No one pitied them. Sparta did not create ordinary men. It created warriors without souls. A Spartan never showed pain. If blood dripped, he ignored it. If bones broke, he stood up. If fear crept in, he swallowed hard and charged forward. Because there was only one law, the city above all, the soldier above himself. This wasn't training. This was war. Combat was not a game, it was survival. The young boys fought every day, with no rules, no mercy. Fists against flesh, bone against steel. There was no glory in victory, only punishment in defeat. Every Spartan mastered 3 weapons: the spear, dory, the shield, hoplon, and the short sword, xiphos. The spear was an extension of the arm, fast, lethal, precise. The shield was not just for defense, it was a weapon of impact used to crush the enemy. And the xiphos? Small, cruel, and deadly in close combat. Brute strength was useless without control. Efficiency was everything. Every strike had a purpose. Every movement was drilled until it became instinct. Thinking meant death. Reacting meant survival. And if a soldier fell, no one would help. Because in Sparta, only the strongest remained standing. The body screamed for rest. But rest did not exist. Endless marches under the scorching sun. Bare feet cutting against the harsh ground, tearing flesh until blood mixed with the dust. Hunger, thirst, exhaustion. Muscles trembled, vision darkened, but no one stopped. Stopping meant weakness. Weakness meant punishment. 30 kilometers, 40, 50. The night fell, bringing a steel-cold wind that pierced to the bone. No fire, no shelter, only their skin against the freezing air. They slept on the icy ground, embracing their own resilience. A Spartan did not complain. A Spartan did not fall. He marched until his legs failed. He endured until his body gave up. And even then, he kept going. The night was his only ally. The darkness, his greatest weapon. The Cryptia was not a test. It was a hunt. Young Spartans were thrown into the wilderness, with no food, no shelter. Only a short blade and one mission, to kill without being seen. The target? The helots, the slaves who sustained Sparta. Move without making a sound. Attack without hesitation. The slightest mistake meant becoming the hunted instead of the hunter. Eyes sharp, breathing controlled. Silence was deadly. The first strike had to be the last. The blade pierced flesh, warm blood stained their hands. No regret, no remorse, only certainty. Today you survived. If you returned to Sparta, you returned as a man. If you failed, no one would remember your name. They were not fragile. They were not submissive. They were Spartan women. Unlike any other woman in Greece, Spartan women trained. They ran, jumped, fought. Their bodies were forged for endurance. Not for war, but to ensure their sons were born strong, relentless, ready for battle. Pain did not break them. Fear did not control them. From an early age, they learned that only the strong survived, and that applied to everyone. While the men died in combat, they upheld Sparta with discipline and honor. The motto was clear: come back with your shield or on it. It was an order. It was a promise. These women did not weep for the dead. They forged the next warriors. Dying was not the worst fate. The worst fate was shaming Sparta. The true Spartan did not fight for glory, wealth, or power. He fought because it was what he was born to do. Honor was above life, and the only options were victory or death. Come back with your shield or on it. There was no middle ground. If he retreated, he was dead to the city. If he fell in battle, his name would live forever. They did not fear pain. They did not fear the enemy. They did not fear death. Because the only thing worse than dying in battle was returning home as a coward. Now look at yourself. Would you endure? Could you withstand the pain, the trials, the endless brutality? Would you march until your feet bled? Would you face death without hesitation? Or would you fall before even beginning? If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to receive updates on new videos. We will always bring you the most inspiring historical content here.